An affordable AR-10 that now includes the ability to turn off the part where firing it spews hot cordite gas directly into your eyes, coming up. What is up, guys? My name is John with PewPewTactical.com, your definitive source for gun reviews, gear guides, and all things that go bang. We reviewed the 2nd gen PA-10 a few months prior with everyone's favorite hill person, and when we heard that the 3rd generation PA-10 would include the ability to manually tune your gas block, we were pretty stoked to get it out to the range and get some more rounds through it. The Gen 2 PA-10 is no doubt a great rifle, but many PSA products can be pretty overgassed straight out of the box. Obviously, having the option to adjust your gas block is going to mitigate the amount of gas that gets spewed back towards you, the shooter. Tune the gun to run reliably with a suppressor or optimize performance so that you're getting just enough gas to lock the bolt back on an empty mag without any unnecessary overflow. This is going to be very useful if you're running some sort of super specific hand loads, but in our experience, the gun actually came pretty well tuned straight from the factory. But you shouldn't be under the impression that this is any sort of magical system where you can turn recoil off, because that's not how this works. Why would you think that? We headed out to the desert to get some rounds through this bad boy on a wonderfully gloomy Californian winter day that almost might have you convinced that the desert would be a nice place to live. But it isn't. Anyway, setting up our steel at approximately 200 yards or so, we set about getting our primary arms 1 to 6 zeroed, eventually getting it sighted in and hammering those dulcet metal tones repeatedly. This has been the first 308 gun that I've spent any sort of significant amount of time with since the debacle with the M1As a few months back. And wow, does nothing really drive home the superiority of an AR platform for this cartridge than firing close to 1,000 rounds out of M1As. Ergonomics-wise, the gun is exactly what you'd expect from a PSA-based AR-10. It includes a rubberized pistol grip that's a bit nicer than your standard A2 or Myad fare, and the trigger is a slightly upgraded nickel-boron 2-stage trigger that I quite like. There's definitely still room for improvement in the trigger if you are looking to just upgrade the hell out of it, but it's way nicer than a mil-spec trigger. Not that that was a particularly high bar to pass. It's quite obvious where the trigger's going to break, and the reset is nice and clean. It comes in around 2 pounds for the first stage and a slightly heavier 2.5 pounds for the second. We did, however, choose to upgrade the gun's charging handle with an Aero Precision Ambi variant, as the stock AR-10 charging handle is pretty abysmal. You might notice as well that the Gen 3 PA-10's finish is a bit improved over the previous generations, being an actual true black compared to the kind of earlier gen slightly purplish hues. Additionally, the rear of the receiver that houses your buffer spring assembly has had some cutouts added to it, allowing the gun to cycle with many more BCGs than on the previous iterations without beating the inside of the receiver to shit. The front pivot pin is also pretty stiff, and you'll definitely need a tool or a 308 round to punch that bad boy out of there should you need to for whatever reason. One thing to note, however, is that the magazine takes a goddamn good amount of force to ram into the mag well if fully loaded and on a closed bolt. This might be due to the specific magwell lock that we need to have mounted to the gun in California, but good lord does that thing take some elbow grease to get in there. I don't much like shooting from mats or benches if it can be avoided, and the Magpul bipod that we've got on here helps with firing the gun from odd positions quite a bit. Ramming that bipod forward into whatever you're shooting up against is also going to help mitigate a bit of that large caliber recoil as well. Firing groups at 100 yards, we got approximately 2 MOA with PMC Bronze 147, a sort of subpar 3 or 4-ish MOA with PPU M80, a decent 1.5 MOA group outside of one flyer with PPU 180 grain, a solid 1 MOA with Federal Gold Medal Match 168, and still somewhat okay 3-ish group with PMC Bronze when rapid fired. We were pretty impressed that the Gen 3 PA-10 outshot the Gen 2 even when we shot the Gen 2 with a lead sled and with a TriggerTech trigger installed. If you're using hand loads or match grade ammo, we have no doubt that you should be able to get 1 MOA or less. We should note that the gas block adjustment is going to be kind of obnoxious unless you've got a decently long Allen key or are willing to take your handguard off in between shots. We found that starting with the gas block entirely closed off, it took about 3 full turns to get the gun feeding and locking back reliably with PMC bronze. You can definitely get the gun running with less turns than that, and you're going to experience less felt recoil when you do, but keep in mind, you're not really going to have a reliable setup at that point. However, with the gas block tuned for reliability with PMC bronze, we didn't really feel any difference compared to the normal expected recoil for 308 out of an AR-10. The Gen 3 PA-10 has also added detent screws to the handguard to keep it from rotating, although this wasn't ever really an issue that we encountered on the previous version. If you are planning on tuning this thing on the range, however, make sure that you bring your entire Allen key set, as the handguard detent pins, and gas block adjustment screws are all different sizes. Punching out to about 300 yards with a PSA 6-24, we were able to consistently ring steel and engage targets quickly, which you can see through this footage we snagged through a Tacticam 5.0 as well. The optic itself isn't too shabby, especially for the price point, but the mount does leave a little bit to be desired. Detents. Why are there more detents on the mount itself? PSA, please, you must chill on the detents. In the event you've already got a Gen 2 lower, the Gen 3 upper with the tunable gas block is available on its own, and we had no issues with parts or fitment compatibility between the two. While there's maybe not a ton to say about the Gen 3 PA-10, we're pretty stoked on the results. And if you've spent any amount of time shooting a really gassy gun, we imagine you're probably gonna be pretty into being able to get through an entire day's worth of shooting without that really fun stinging eye sensation. If you're a first-time buyer looking to step into the world of big boy ARs, we can't recommend the PA-10 series enough, as its price point, reliability, and PSA's excellent customer service, in our opinion, make this a great choice. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, as we've got lots more on the way. Once again, my name is John with PA-10 Tactical. We will see you next time.